Hey guys, Poor here, and this is going to be the first of many videos that I want to do about playoffs globally across all six regions heading into MSI 2026. Basically, what I wanted to do was that for every single playoff series that I watch, I'm going to make a quick little recap video. It's going to be pretty unprofessional, not super in-depth, not super high quality or anything, but I just want to talk about all of the playoff series that I watch, get my thoughts out there, and also so that way I have more videos to post on my second channel. I feel like I haven't been posting enough, so this is going to be a good way for me to just drop the whole entire quality over quantity thing and just get videos out there in the first place. Originally, I didn't think I was going to have to do this until this weekend because I was checking all the playoffs and all the regions didn't start their playoffs until this upcoming weekend. But then I checked CBLOL and apparently they started all the way back in like May 9th or something, so I've got some catching up to do for their playoffs. This first series that I watched was VKS versus Loud, and it was honestly pretty fun stuff, I would say. Loud ended up taking the series 3-1, and my conclusion when watching the series is that even though Loud was the sixth seed in regular season and VKS was the third seed, it just seemed like Loud was a much better team, or at the very least, a much more proactive team. I don't know if it was just because it was a really bad matchup for VKS, or if Loud are like a playoffs riser team. I know that they also weren't the most insane regular season team in Split 1, and then they went on to win playoffs to represent at First Stand. But a lot of this series, to me, was Loud being very active around the map, making plays, clicking their buttons, doing stuff. And then VKS was just very passive. It was almost like they were waiting for some mistakes to be made that didn't end up being made. I don't know if VKS was just a slower team in regular season and was able to find more mistakes to punish, or if they just didn't show up on the day or what the deal was. But either way, as we go through the four games, it becomes very apparent that Loud was definitely a better team on the day than VKS was. I want to go through the drafts a little bit if I find the drafts interesting, and then we'll jump right into some of my notes on the gameplay. So right away, something interesting that I noticed is that the picks, the junglers in game one were very odd. So on Loud side, they have an Aatrox, and then on VKS's side, they end up picking up a Zehen. And I find this very interesting because VKS, they have a Rumble comp. So ideally, you would want a jungler that can help set up the Rumble combo. Like right now, VKS have a lot of CC, but they don't really have great primary engaged CC tools. Like they have Ash Arrow, but then if your Ash Arrow misses, I'm not really sure who's creating that valuable equalizer for you. So the Zehen pick feels pretty out of place to me. I feel like VKS would have wanted more of a playmaking jungler who can lock champions down. And then on Loud side, kind of same thing. Like they lock in the Aatrox on 3, but when I'm looking at VKS's locks, like at the point where the Aatrox gets locked in, there's a Rumble Ash Seraphine triple immobile champion showing on their team. So I am also surprised that Loud didn't go with a lockdown champion, and then kind of comes to bite them in the ass a little bit because they go Caitlyn Karma. So when I'm looking at this Loud comp, it's like, okay, they have Caitlyn Karma, they want to win bot lane super hard against Ash Seraphine. They have Ryze who wants to be able to push and roam and maybe dive bot. So you would think that they would want a jungler who can move around the map quickly and is good at playing through lanes. And Aatrox is not really either of those things. So both teams, they have a jungler who kind of want to power farm and be more passive early when both teams really want more active junglers who can actually do stuff. So kind of a weird little mismatch. But basically, this game, I had two main notes about it. So Loud, even with the Aatrox, they played really, really well with this Caitlyn. Like it felt like Loud came in with the game plan. They were like, okay, we're gonna have pushing bot, we're gonna play through the bot, we're gonna get Caitlyn ahead, we're gonna take the Ashe and the Seraphine and completely blow them out in lane, and they basically did exactly that. And then the other thing that Loud did really well in this game, and also across the entire series, as we'll see when we get into game 2, 3, and 4, is that Loud had really good cross maps. Like it felt like every single time VKS went for a play anywhere, Loud were instantly looking to see if they could make something else happen on the other side of the map. And essentially what that meant was that the tempo of the game was super fast in their favor. It felt like they were never taking their foot off the gas, never gave the opponent a moment to breathe where nothing was happening. They tried not to give VKS any free advantages. And so what basically happened at the end of the day is that it was just a clean win. Like sure, some players had some individual mistakes, but overall in terms of 5v5 gameplay and playing for the comp, there wasn't really much more that Loud could have done. So you can see here already, the Caitlyn and the Karma, they push out the Ashe Seraphine level 3. Aatrox is here just to zone them out. This is pretty much exactly what you want to do with Caitlyn Seraphine. I actually think it's kind of crazy that with Caitlyn Karma, I think it's kind of crazy that Ashe Seraphine completely dropped Prio level 1. I feel like they could have fought a little bit harder to get push on level 1 to avoid this happening, but either way, this is a really good start for Loud. Then here we've basically got the same thing going on, so Young Jay, he's going to use the push from the Caitlyn and the Karma to take the Drake, and then right after the Drake, he is just going to move bot. Saralu finishes his Gromp, and then he kind of just walks in and is greeting over a control ward. And then what ends up happening is that he just gets hard punished for it. And then so from here, Young Jay is able to take the Drake and then essentially just immediately pressure bot again. One note that we'll get into as the series continues is that this game, or not even this game, this entire series, there was just a pretty substantial jungle gap, I would say. It felt like Sarulu, there was a lot of games where he was making some silly mistakes where he was just in the wrong spot or he clicked kind of weird, and overall it was just kind of a mess from him on the day. So yeah, this play, one, it's just Loud playing their comp well. They know that they want to pressure and 4-man dive bot. Another one is this is kind of Sarlu's fault for making that mistake earlier, and therefore he cannot be here on this timer to cover the dive. And even if he was, I don't know if it would have made a difference. Here you can see again that Young Jay and Envy are hunting this 4v2 for what feels like the 20th time this game. They're going to be able to take the entire turret on this one. And basically, I mean, once this happens, the game is over, right? Like the strategy of the comp is that you wanted to get Caitlyn ahead. Caitlyn is now ahead. Like there's pretty much nothing more that Loud could have wanted from the situation. Here's an example of one of those cross map plays that I was talking about. So Envy and Miru, they're just kind of laning a little bit, and then VKS show up and they make a 3-man play. And something that I feel like Loud understands very well is that when a team goes for a play like this, while it looks good for the team who made the play initially, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually good for the game, because if they use all of their tempo top, then that means that Loud have a timer to make a play somewhere else. So should be respecting on this timer. I think better teams, the AD carry would be respecting. But either way, it's a really creative angle from Young Jay to just completely flank and dive the mid tier one like that. And the reason why he's able to go for that is because VKS put all their pressure topside. And this is something that Loud does constantly in all of their games, where as soon as one team makes a play on one side of the map, the players on Loud instantly look cross map to other lanes to see if they can equalize the play somehow. And so a lot of times they'll get plays made against them, but they're a proactive enough team that they won't actually lose ground. They won't actually give up too much on those plays. Here's another one that I like a lot. This is another play where Envy is pushed up pretty far on side, but everybody on the map is pushed up. As soon as VKS show multiple people on a play on Envy, look at all of the pings. Immediately, the entirety of Loud, they're all pinging this top tier 2. They want to make a play for this top tier 2, so they're just a really good cross-mapping team. They're really good at utilizing pressure on the map and getting the most out of when the enemy overcommits to one side or puts a lot of resources on one side. Right here, I just want to show this. This is a really cool 1v1 play. So basically, K'Sante and Orianna are laning against each other. K'Sante sees the TP, so he flashes into the bush to cancel Orianna's TP and then just dry solo kills her with some pretty nice K'Sante mechanics. They'll show it on the big screen here. Gets a nice little W on the shockwave. Shino, honestly, is just really fucking good. Like, I feel like he's just a player where, I mean, I don't really know how his regular season went. So for context, I didn't watch much of CBLOL regular season, like, at all. I saw a couple of highlights here and there. I watched a couple of games here and there, but I really didn't have enough time to watch the regular seasons of all 6 regions, and CBLOL was kind of one of the ones that I dropped. So I have no idea if Shino's regular season was good or bad or whatever, but every single time I watch him play, he's really, really fucking good. Like every time I get to see him, he seems very impressive to me. And basically, this is the final play of the game. Loud made a couple of mistakes here and there in mid game, but essentially, we are onto the Drake setup for the Soul Drake. And this is a note that I wanted to point out for VKS, is that they have full setup over this Drake. Like, you can see that they have full vision everywhere, but for some reason, they just pull the trigger and run into mid, and essentially, they don't have a setup anymore. Saralu eating forward there is completely troll. And basically, what my note was from this that I wanted to keep looking at as the series progressed is that it felt like in this game, at least, VKS were playing their objective situations way too fast, when their objective situations would be going much better if they would just play on their setups and let the enemy team kind of walk into them, especially when they're playing Ashe Seraphine, Orianna Zehen. Something I want to say, just as another aside, Uzen. I don't really know who this player is. I know that he subbed in at some point. I hadn't gotten the chance to watch him much. I thought he played really well this game. I thought Uzen played pretty well for the entire series. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him from playoffs. Okay, game two. Looking at the game two comp, it's very once again, Loud have a super clear, straightforward identity. They want to stomp bot lane very hard. They want to make a lot of plays with their mid jungle. And once again in this game, we'll be able to see a lot of those same strengths that we saw from game one, which is that Loud are really good at committing to plays and they're really good at cross maps. So we'll see in this game, there's actually a disaster that happens for Loud early, which is that Bull and Uzent in the Kalista Renata lane, they lose the lane, which is super, super bad for the game. Like, you would really want Kalista to be ahead here. Uzent flashes forward, trades flashes with Zyra, Sarlu sees that happen, or is it Zyra? With Zaya, Sarlu sees this happen, so he wants to immediately punish the flash play, so there's just a nice little double flash onto the Renata to get the kill. Then after that, Young Jay and Bull just kind of go psychotic. And essentially when this happens, the game instantly becomes very hard. Like, this is a situation that you would never want to see happen if you have Callista. Something that I had a note on is that I think that picking Callista here might be a little bit greedy since they already had Vi, and Vi is generally a slower champion that doesn't want to make too many plays pre-6, whereas Callista is somebody who really wants a lot of jungle attention. However, something that's kind of neat from this Loud team is that even when they're behind like this, we can still see that they don't really lose sight of how their comp is supposed to function and what their comeback opportunities are. A lot of times when teams fall behind, they'll just kind of buckle under the pressure and give up a little bit, or they'll play slower. Loud, they never take their foot off the gas. And here's a really good example of that. They know that they have all their buttons. They want to make a play onto the Galio, and they do just that. Here, once again, we get to see an example of Loud's cross mapping. Now, I will mention a note here, which is that I think against better teams, like against more elite teams from other regions, normally if a hard play is made like this on one side of the map, their weak side would respect a lot more. Uh, like Wiser kind of being here on this timer and not respecting is a little bit criminal, but still good from Loud to be able to see that, hey, they're making a play on one side of the map. Immediately, can we pull the trigger on the other side? So Shino just kind of clicks R and runs Wiser down, and they're able to pick up that kill. And actually immediately right after, because Vi didn't use ult VKS, they make a play here where they flank behind the Kalista, and then Galio ults down. Bull is going to die here. But it's kind of the same deal. Vi walks into Raptors, pushes Jarvan out, knows that Jarvan isn't going to be top, and so they immediately look for the cross map. Because Vi didn't press ult on the Jace before, she's just going to walk into lane, press R, they're going to kill the Jace again. So really nice cross map stuff for a second time. Here's a really nice play from Shino. I feel like Shino has nice plays every single game, even internationally when he was against stronger competition, stronger top laners. He always found these random windows where he just made good plays and looked very impressive. So here's one where he kind of fakes Wiser out into thinking that he reset. Then he just shows up behind him and kills him. He's going to have really good spacing on all of his Qs here as well. Yeah, just really, really good Scion Q placement. Nothing else to say there. I did want to talk about one of the objective setups that I saw from this game that was interesting to me. So here on this Herald setup, normally when you're in objective setups like this, it's kind of like when you're a jungler, you have one of two things that you can do. You can either play for the objective or you can play for the fight. And my kind of opinion is that if the game isn't in a super desperate spot where you need the objective, then playing for the fight is better. But you can see here, both junglers, what's going to happen is they're both going to tunnel in on wanting to secure the Herald really, really hard. And then because of that, both of them are going to be pretty disoriented when the fight actually starts. Neither of them play this fight particularly well, and I think that's because both of them had focused all of their time and energy and some of their skills on making sure that the Herald went their way. Like you can see here, like the Vi, she's just kind of seems a little bit homeless at the start of the fight, just walking around, not really hitting skills. And then Sarlu goes crazy here. He just tries to like flash onto the Herald, which is obviously a horrible way to approach the fight. And then so because of that, VKS just get completely wiped here. But like you'll notice that with that play happening, obviously helps a lot. But even before that, they had pulled the score back to 6-5. Remember, this was a game where VKS started off with a massive lead, and Loud are able to get themselves back in essentially just by clicking their buttons over and over. Like Loud know what their comp is supposed to do, and they just make sure to do it over and over again, and they know that's how they have to push the tempo of the game. Oh yeah, Bull's getting completely pissed gapped to this game by Sayo. Sayo generally was actually playing fairly well this series. He was one of the only strong performers in the series for VKS. But you can see that Weiser died. They're going to show a replay here. Just normal Vi Ari stuff. Like it looks really simple, but it's honestly very refreshing to see teams just be in position to press their buttons and then press their buttons. It reminds me a lot of Team Secret Whales from the LCP, where they'll just draft super proactive comps like this, and then they will just push their go buttons off cooldown over and over again. This is just a positioning mistake from the Vi, and then they end up needing to give this Drake. Look at this play from Loud. So this is a really nice one in my opinion. So this one starts out with Vi just kind of like fishing over the wall, and then they end up getting a chunk on the Jarvan here. And because Jarvan gets chunked this hard, essentially what Loud are viewing this as is a 5v4 situation, and they really want to make a play for this mid turret. Something that I've really enjoyed watching Loud do this series is that when they want to make a play, they're really good as a team, just fully committing to it. So here you can see initially starts with Kaiwin getting caught, and then Shino is just going to press R and tank the entire turret. They're just going to go. I feel like if you want to be a good team with a high ceiling, you have to be willing to make plays like this. Like you have to be willing to see, like, oh, we chunked Jarvan for 50% health and the mid turret is low. Let's just make a play on the turret and guarantee the turret. If the enemy team decides to contest, then they're just inting and we'll kill them all. Look at this. Here's another example of Loud instantly snapping on crossmap. Starlu makes a 1 second mistake of EQing over the pit. As soon as he shows, Loud are immediately pressing R on this Galio and diving. Like this is just very clean ideas from Loud, super clean cross maps. And yeah, I mean, not much more to talk about this game. Loud just completely stomped this one. So in order to fully talk about Loud, we have to, I think it's important to be able to look at the weaknesses from Loud. And in this one, this is the one game that they lost. First of all, their 1-2 is very weird to me. So, I mean, VKS go Lucian and then Loud respond with the Gnar Milio. I was kind of confused on what they were actually going to pair with this Milio. Caitlyn is out, Ashe is out. These are kind of traditional Milio champions. VKS get Lucian Nami. And then Loud also, they went blind Gnar, so it's like VKS are always going Yorick on 3 here. This is the most obvious counter ever. And then Loud decided to go Draven, so their comp is going to be bot side centric once again. But something to note when they did these comps, so here they're going blind LeBlanc, and then in game 1, when they played through bot, a lot of it was the Rise, like a lot of it was, okay, Young Jay go mid, free up the Rise, Rise can roam over, roam warp in, 4-man play bot, that kind of stuff. And then in game 2, the bot lane was a complete mess for Bull and Uzent. They got destroyed in the 2v2. And then the Vi and the Ahri, they had to shift elsewhere and put their pressure elsewhere to get back into the game. This game here, we kind of get a last second counter pick where you get the Trundle into Poppy matchup. But overall, not amazing champions to have on your team if you're going to play for a Draven. Despite this, though, you do have to play for the Draven. Like, I think something super obvious that you could do is vertical split level 1. This is what I was thinking when these comps got locked in, because Trundle is just so strong level 1. Draven is strong level 1. Like, these champions will always win level 1 against these. And initially, right off the bat, you can see that Loud actually does do that. Like, they go and they initiate the vertical split. And I was thinking, okay, great. They have a vertical split. Youngjae will be able to pressure the Lucian Nami really hard. Then they do something really weird. Youngjae, he goes for the blue buff. He takes the blue buff, and then he just gives up on the cross map. Like, he just stops. And then basically, what we're going to see throughout this early game is that it just felt like Loud had no concept of how to play around the Draven at all. Like, I felt like Youngjae almost tried to play the game as if there wasn't a Draven. He was trying to play it the same as game 1, where he wanted to go through mid first and then into bot, when there were multiple timers where he should have just clicked bot or helped bot out. And then so that kind of led me to this conclusion when I was watching all these games that, like, this team, I feel like they really function through mid. Like, if Envy is not unlocked and on the map and able to do stuff, their early game plans don't really work. Which is, it's like fine. The meta is very mid playmakey centric right now, but I don't know. I mean, like, just the fact that Sarulu even has the timer to hover here in the first place when you're playing Trundle into Poppy and you have a Draven on your team is kind of ridiculous to me. Like, imagine the world where Saralu actually just pulled the trigger here, and then they killed the Draven, and then what? The entire game is over? Like that'd be very, very bad. You can see here Young Jay, he's trying to cross through mid, gets a flash from Victor, which in theory would be a good play, but he has to revisit to be able to make sure that that they can actually get something from it. Here's kind of an example of what I'm showing. Loud, they're feigning that they want to pressure for a 4v2 dive. First of all, it's insane to me that Seo doesn't back up. Like, I feel like the fact that Lucian and Nami are staying on this tower is ridiculous. This here is a really nice play in theory. Saralu thinks that these two are about to show bot and dive bot, so he goes in. Loud decide to make a play on him. LeBlanc's flash is really weird here, though, and she just burns flash for nothing, and they don't even end up getting the poppy. Then Saralu decides to E back in. Yeah, if we look at this on the minimap, Saralu, he's going to try to fight for his wolves a little bit. Pillar's not good. He gets out. He E's back in, which is like, okay, what the hell is going on? And then this ends up turning into 1v1 for 1. Young Jay goes under the tower. But it's like, I don't know. I guess my main point is that the mid jungle mechanics for the first like 5 minutes of this game weren't very good. You can even see here the Trundle, he tries to revisit mid to punish the Victor with no flash. Gets completely dono walled by the W. And yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, the plays that Young Jay went for weren't necessarily bad or anything, but I do just find it weird that he's trying to play through mid when Victor's like one of the best champions at getting played into. He's one of the best champions in early lane phase, but the Trundle is just constantly trying to play through this LeBlanc and trying to play like into the Victor, into the Poppy instead of just walking bot and demolishing the Lucian when you have a Draven on your team. Like I feel like if you have Draven on your team, your entire game plan has to revolve around the Draven. Like both teams need to be only thinking about Draven, and it just felt like Loud wasn't really doing that. Something I will say about this game is that Shino played a really good game once again. Like the fact that he's even on this timer, where he's like up 200 gold, but before this kill is crazy. This is normally a super easy matchup for Yorick. Yorick should never fall behind here, but Shino, he's just going to do Shino things and just randomly open up a lead top. Here, Miru is going to make a really nice play. They have a bot lane as a deep ward here. Miru is going to recall and then essentially just TP bot. And this is going to result in the Draven dying without getting a cash in. So under normal circumstances, this would be game. This would be it. The game is over. And if you're the Draven, you would be really frustrated here because Loud had multiple chances to try to get Draven this kill or to try to accelerate Draven. Like they could have committed to the vertical split. They could have committed to the 4-man dive. Young Jay could have spent less time pressuring mid just in general and given Draven more room to breathe. The only reason why Loud are going to be able to stay in this game for so long is because Shino just has a ridiculous lead. And once again, a very, very bad Gnar matchup. He just has a 1.1k gold lead over this Yorick. And in game 1 and game 2, I was saying that I really liked how Loud they were going for cross maps, they were committing to plays, they were really just clicking their buttons and making a lot of progress. This game, this is where you can kind of see their weakness as we get into this mid game, is that it almost feels like that's all they know how to do. So what happens in this game is that when you have this game condition, your comp does not function properly, right? The Draven is too far behind at this point, your mid laner is too far behind. The Loud 4v4, the Loud bot side 4v4 with Trundle, Draven, LeBlanc, they all want to go into VKS. They all want to walk at VKS. But VKS, their bot side 4v4, are some of the best champions at getting walked at. Like Victor is really good at being engaged on. Poppy is really good disengager. Nami is one of the best disengage supports in the game. Lucian even has agency to be able to dash backwards. So these champions from VKS, they're really, really good at going backwards and getting engaged into, and the Loud 4v4, or like the Loud 4-man bot side, that's all they can do. All they can do is go forward. So if you're Loud, the only way that you can win this game is through side lane. Like you just have to plant the Gnar on side, let Shino do his thing, let him get his advantage over the Yorick. Maybe Shino can, if the two teams are just staring at each other 4v4, then Shino can work on getting all the side lane turrets. If Shino sees an angle to move in, he can move in and give his team pressure on a timer 5v4. Like, this is how you'd want to play the game. But in this game, they just click their buttons to a fault. Like, you'll see in this game, as this game progresses, they just cannot help but continue to click forward in the 4v4. And essentially, like, VKS, they don't even make any plays in this game. Like I guess their comp isn't really good at making plays, but even in the series, just as a whole, they didn't really make very many plays. I just don't think that's VKS's style, most likely. But like in this game, Loud are the ones who initiate every single play, and they're also the ones who essentially lose the game for themselves because most of the plays that they go for end up being bad. Like there's this one, for example, where Shino, not really established inside, trying to move in to make a play together. They're going for this dive. Bull flashes in, kills himself. Actually, right before this, right before Draven kills himself, there was one that really bothered me. Look at this one. So they make this play here. The Nami is chunked out really low. So if we look at this play, they're really trying to get Draven this cash in. TP goes up, so Loud just fully commit to this. The Nami is low. And then watch this. The Nami gets chased down. We have full information of where Nami is right now. Draven is how many passive stacks is he sitting on right now? Like 300? Yeah, he's got 312. Full vision of where the Nami is. We know exactly what Nami is doing. And like, is this not the most obvious Draven ult angle ever? Like, can't Draven just throw R here, get the cash in, and then like they're completely back in the game because Draven will just have like a 500, 600 gold lead. Instead, he clicks B. Like, if you look on the minimap, he just presses B and leaves. He doesn't even throw the ult. I feel like this is so criminal. And then he, of course, the play that I just showed, he immediately gets punished for it. He flashes under tower, doesn't get the kill, and dies, and now he just doesn't have a cash in, right? Here's another one. Trundle and LeBlanc, they're trying to initiate a play on the Victor. Poppy's here to cover. She's just going to hit them with a nice little double ult. And what especially bothers me about this is that it's like, look at what is happening in the side lane. If Loud are doing nothing, look at what is happening. Like here, they're trying to run forward again, but just look at the, like, we're flashing forward for this. Like, this is just like super risky for no reason. You're never making progress into these champions, but look at what is happening on side. This turret was full health, by the way. Nar is just, he's working on the turret on Yorick. He's up 2k gold. You can see here, 2 plates have already gone down. Yorick is low. We flash forward 10 seconds. Yorick steps up to try to defend the tower, and the Gnar just walks up and kills him. Like, this is what your side lane looks like. I feel like you should just play through this. Just play through the side lane, you'll win. Instead, we're like pushed up really far on mid wave trying to contest mid. Mira just TPs behind and burns Draven's flash, and now Draven has to be super passive. Like, here's another timer. Loud, they really want to try to kill these VKS champions somehow. Like, I guess this time they get Lucian's flash, so it's technically a positive play, but it's like you can see how durable VKS's comp is when they're getting engaged into. Like, nothing is really going to happen. Like, you're never going to kill people here. This play here is especially crazy to me. Like, look at Shino's positioning on the map right now. Look at the bot wave. The bot wave is fully pushed in for Loud, so VKS are the ones under pressure. They're the ones who have to do something. Shino has now planted himself in top lane. He's about to hit top tier 3. And then Loud, they just, once again, they just click forward at VKS and just immediately get punished for it. Like, I feel this is like really undisciplined league from Loud. And I guess to the point where like Shino decides he wants to TP in because it's like his team is kind of losing the game. He feels like the entire game is going to be decided here. Tries to go for the big play. Poppy gets the ult. And it's like from the eagle eye view, like from the spectator, from the view that we have as viewers, it's just like this game seems like it should be so easy to win if they just play through Shino, if they just let Shino do his thing. But in the game, sometimes this stuff can be hard to identify, and it feels like Loud are just falling for the trap where they feel like they need to do something, even if the game state is just them naturally winning by doing nothing. And yeah, pretty much the rest of the game is just Loud getting bled out. Like Young Jay steps up too far and ends up kind of killing his top lane on the way out, and then so VKS get a Baron off of it, and they use the Baron to be able to take the entire base. You can see just how durable VKS's comp is. Like, it's pretty much impossible for Loud to walk in and do anything to them at this point. We get the soul for free. We walk in and push, and then basically the game is just over. So yeah, unfortunate one from Loud. I feel like if they played a little bit more disciplined, this could have been a 3-0. Just felt like at the end of the day, like they're really good at putting their foot on the gas pedal, but maybe they just don't know when to stop and chill a little bit and identify alternative win conditions other than just pressing their buttons. Here we have the final game of the series. Something that I wanted to note is that Ezreal prio is really low in the series as a whole. Like, it wasn't picked here, it wasn't banned. Both teams have an opportunity to grab Ezreal here, and it would probably be a pretty solid pick, and they just don't do it. So I'm not really sure if it's just neither of these teams want to play Ezreal or if Ezreal prio is just down in the region. But considering that Ezreal is like a even as high as like a B1 pick in some of the other regions, it was just interesting to see. Right away in lane phase, we can see the same trend that we've been seeing pretty much the entire series, which is that if you leave the bot lane to just exist 2v2 in isolation, Bull is just getting completely gapped. He should actually die here, by the way. If Sivir flashes forward, like as soon as the Nico flashes forward, if Sivir also flashes forward to hit, and then also dodges the Barky from that, then Jhin pretty much always dies here, just burns double summoners and dies, and the entire lane is over. So Yeah, Bull just completely gapped the series from an individual standpoint, and he's kind of just lucky that his mid jungle are playing as well as they are. And then once again, you can just see that like the entire game plan revolves around just trying to get Envy in a good position in lane, trying to get him ahead so that he can move around the map and do stuff. You have the Young Jay cross through here, just trying to give Envy as much pressure as possible, trying to do any damage. And then if we flash forward like 40 seconds, you can see once again when Young Jay is mid. Loud, their early game, they just completely play through Envy, which I believe right now in the current meta is correct. I think this is exactly what you should do. So this is super nice to see. Like Miru just cannot play the game. Here's going to be a nice little play from Young Jay. So enemy team, VKS, they're never expecting Fury to be here because they think that she's going to be on Gromp, but she drops the Gromp, just makes a Bard portal play. It's going to result in a kill for them. First blood for Young Jay, and Young Jay, he's going to take this kill and essentially just run the entire map. This is a setup that actually kind of bothered me. So like if you look at this game, essentially the Loud, they picked up the Grubs, they have the Herald, they have 2 Drakes, they've just been completely running the map. But if you look at this situation, Envy just got chunked, he's topside. VKS briefly saw him on the ward here. Like, as far as I'm concerned, this situation is basically 5v4. Like, the Aurora is out of the play, but VKS, they're just a very passive team. Like, this is the timer where they need to just walk in and get control. They need to, like, place wards, they need to break into the enemy setup, but they don't do anything. Like, they're just content to kind of sit here on mid. Like, you have Flash, Nico, ult. I think VKS, they should just bully their way in, hit the Drake, the Aurora's basing with no TP, and then if Loud walk in, then you just flash Nico will turn on them. Should be an easy situation, but they're very scared to do anything. This should be a game state where they're temporarily ahead, where they're able to do something, and they just don't. Again, I don't know if this is how VKS always is, or if it's just like a stylistic difference. But yeah, here they're gonna go for the play. It's very bad. In the extended situation, if Fury's going to pick up a couple of kills, and then Loud are going to turn this into a Baron. And yeah, the game is over. That's the series. So overall, the series, again, I thought it was really fun to watch, mainly just because Loud are such an exciting team. Like when these guys, when their game plans are going the way that they're supposed to go, they never take their foot off the gas. They're super active around the map. I thought that Young Jay and Envy both played a very good series, the two of them synced up super well on most of their timers. They were going around the map trying to punish every flash, going for all of these cross maps, all of these plays. Shino had a really good series, was completely gapping Wiser. Let's see, what else is there to say? I felt like I didn't really learn much from VKS. Like, I understand that they placed pretty well in regular season, but to me, just based on what I saw, Wiser and Sarulu were just strict downgrades to what Boal and Desamis were doing last split. Felt like Desamis was way more active on the map. Sarulu is a little bit passive, made a lot of positioning mistakes. And overall, I just couldn't really get a grasp of what VKS is supposed to be good at and what they're supposed to be bad at, because pretty much in all 4 games, every single play that was made that was either good or bad was initiated by Loud. Like either Loud, they initiated a play and it went well for them, or they went for a play and it was in, and then VKS happened to just get a lead or get a good position from it. But this entire series was dictated by Loud. Loud were the ones who were doing everything, essentially. If I had to say anything for VKS, I thought that Miru and Seo played individually a fairly decent series. Felt like both of them were doing very well 1v1 against their lane counterpart, especially Seo, who completely had Bull's number. Bull, bad series for sure. But yeah, heading into future rounds, I'll be excited to see if Loud's strategies can hold up against some of the better teams. If I had to give a series MVP, I would say Shino. I just think that the stuff that Shino does, the plays that he finds, and the angles that he looks for are super impressive, and the way that he plays side lane is also very good. Just feels like he has a very good grasp of how to push games forward and how to keep enemy teams one step behind him. Yeah, not much else to say. If Loud keeps playing like that, I think they can make a pretty deep run. If VKS keeps playing like this, then they're going to be looking at an early exit. I'm going to be super curious to see what VKS's next series looks like, so that way I can figure out what they're actually good at. Let me check the playoff bracket real quick. I want to make sure that VKS isn't just straight up eliminated off of that. Yeah, okay, they are not. They get to go to the losers bracket where they'll get to play against Los, which is a series that has not happened yet. So yeah, I don't know. I like Loud. Loud play well. VKS, they need to show me more. That's all I've really got for this series. I'll see you all for the next one. Bye.